You're standing at the beach and something is wrong. The water is there. The horizon is there. The color, the smell, the sound of it, all there. But when you walk in, it stops at your ankle. You keep walking. It stays at your ankle. You can see the bottom. Not just near the shore, where you always could, but everywhere. Out past where the waves should start. Out past where the water should turn dark and cold and deep. It just doesn't. The entire ocean, every ocean, stretching to every continent on Earth, sitting at exactly 1 foot deep. It looks almost normal. That's the part that should bother you. So, what if the ocean was only 1 foot deep? This isn't just a strange visual. A 1 foot ocean doesn't quietly sit there, looking shallow. It dismantles every system that keeps this planet functional. By the end, you'll understand why depth isn't a feature of the ocean. It's the whole point. First, let's actually picture this. The ocean covers roughly 361 million square kilometers of Earth's surface. That number is hard to hold in your head, so think of it this way. The ocean is larger than all the land on Earth combined, by a significant margin. Now keep that surface area exactly as it is. Don't shrink it. Don't move the coastlines. Just drain it down until the deepest point is 12 inches. What's left isn't a shrunken ocean. It's a different object entirely. The average ocean depth right now is around 3,600 meters, roughly 2.25 miles straight down. We're not reducing that. We're eliminating it. What remains is an enormous, continent-spanning sheet of water. Calm, clear, pale turquoise all the way to the horizon, with sunlit sand visible beneath every inch of it. No waves, because real waves need depth to form. Just a faint surface, ripple barely disturbing itself. Beautiful, in the way that things are beautiful, right before you understand what's wrong with them. Now here's what most people don't think about. When you drain the ocean to 1 foot, the floor doesn't disappear. It becomes the surface. And the seafloor is not flat. Hidden under the water right now is the longest mountain range on Earth, the Mid-Ocean Ridge System, stretching over 65,000 kilometers, longer than the distance around the planet 2.5 times. Currently, it sits miles underwater. In a 1 foot ocean, it's exposed terrain. Jagged black ridges rising from wet sediment. Vast plains of gray silt, thousands of kilometers wide, still dripping. The Mariana Trench, nearly 11 kilometers deep, deeper than Mount Everest, is tall, becomes an open canyon system, its walls now visible from the surface. Hundreds of millions of square kilometers of new land suddenly exist. Raw, mineral-rich, geologically strange, with no soil and no life. The planet looks alien. The continents you know are still there, but now they're surrounded by something that looks nothing like an ocean and nothing like land. People imagine the seafloor as a muddy, featureless basin. It's the most dramatic terrain on Earth. It was just hidden. Now, the biological system fails. The ocean's food chain doesn't run on sunlight alone. It runs on depth. Nutrients don't start at the surface. They rise from the deep through upwelling currents. Cold water pushing up from the bottom and carrying the minerals that feed phytoplankton, the microscopic organisms that produce roughly half of the oxygen in every breath you take. No deep water means no upwelling. No upwelling means the base of the food chain starves. Every creature above it follows. The deep sea species, which by sheer volume of habitat represent the majority of ocean life, had their entire world removed. They were engineered for crushing pressure and near freezing darkness. Neither exists anymore. Coral reefs, which need specific depth and water movement to survive, are gone. The ocean goes quiet. Not dramatically, not with a visible die-off you could watch from shore. It just goes biologically silent. Clear water, bright bottom, nothing moving in it. A 1 foot ocean sounds like it would be warmer, sunnier, more alive. It's the opposite. Sunlight reaching the bottom everywhere doesn't help anything if the system that feeds everything was severed at the root. Here's where it stops being an ocean problem. The ocean is the planet's thermal engine. It absorbs the majority of excess heat in Earth's climate system, holding warmth, redistributing it, keeping temperatures across continents from swinging to extremes. That function requires mass, thermal mass. A 1-foot ocean has almost none. Heat that used to be stored for months gets released in days. The thermohaline circulation, the global system of deep currents that moves warm and cold water between the poles and the equator, shuts down entirely because it runs on density differences created by temperature and depth. Without it, heat stops being distributed. Polar regions freeze harder. Equatorial regions bake. Weather patterns that continents have relied on for thousands of years shift without warning. The ocean also produces roughly half of Earth's oxygen through phytoplankton, which are already gone. And evaporation, always happening from the ocean surface, now happens at a rate wildly out of proportion to the water's volume. The ocean is evaporating faster than anything can refill it. The weather isn't just changing. The machine generating it is eating itself. Now it's our problem. Over 90% of everything traded between countries moves by sea. Cargo ships require between 10 and 20 meters of water beneath their hulls just to float and navigate safely. A 1-foot ocean doesn't ground a few unlucky vessels. It ends global shipping as a system. Ports sit in ankle-deep water surrounded by exposed mudflats. Freighters rest sideways on visible sandbanks, miles from where the waterline used to be. Meanwhile, roughly 3 billion people depend on seafood as their primary source of protein. That supply chain collapsed in the previous segment, and rainfall patterns across entire continents are now unreliable because the moisture cycle that fed them ran on a working ocean. Food systems, trade systems, and freshwater supplies don't fail one at a time. They fail together because they were all running on the same engine. A dock worker standing at a beached port, staring out at a flat, pale expanse where the Atlantic used to be, would have no vocabulary for what they're looking at. Because a 1-foot ocean doesn't stay a 1-foot ocean. With its surface area unchanged, but its volume reduced to almost nothing, the ratio of water exposed to air is extreme. Evaporation vastly outpaces replenishment. The rainfall that used to return water to the sea is weaker now, because the moisture that fed it came from the deep ocean in the first place. As the water level drops further, salinity climbs, salt concentrations that no marine organism can survive. What little life remained ends, and then the water keeps going. The ocean becomes a network of shallow, hypersaline pools, shrinking toward their edges. Eventually, the floor dries. What's left is a salt-crusted plain where the ocean used to be, white and flat and silent, textured like a dried lake bed, scaled to the size of a hemisphere. The ocean doesn't look like it's holding the world together. It just sits there, vast and blue and easy to ignore. But depth is what makes it work. The weight of all that water pressing down, the cold, dark layers moving slowly beneath the surface, the pressure keeping an entire biological and atmospheric system running. That's the infrastructure. Depth isn't scenery. It's the mechanism. Standing at the beach with water at your ankle feels harmless. It turns out that's the most dangerous version of the ocean imaginable. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.